Hey guys, welcome to another Cigar Chat brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast around the world, the Armed Forces Radio Network. And wherever you are out there in the world today, appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us. Robbie Raz here with you as always from Cigar Federation. We've got Logan is on assignment at an undisclosed location. We're probably in a sewer somewhere, but John has decided to step in, our cigar surgeon from the great country of Canada. John, how's everything going in the Great White North today?
Good, man. It's actually a pretty hot and humid day up here, so unusually I'm sitting on my patio here and I'm actually sweating and enjoying it and probably drinking a beer that's way too heavy for the show. But I'm pretty excited to be talking to Omar about cigars, but also his other gig. I don't know if I want to call it a side gig, but his other gig, which is coffee, which is, just as exciting for me as it is for the cigars. So I'm excited for tonight's show.
Yeah, this is definitely going to take on a bit of a sharing our pairings feel. For those of you who tune into our weekly pairing show, John and I host that. So we're definitely going to be talking about some cigars. We're both drinking beer tonight, so we'll be talking about that a little bit, and some coffee. So that's exciting. We've got Omar joining us from your live international show today. We got Canada and Dominican Republic.
That's right. How you guys doing? I'm in a place called Cigar Market here in Santo Domingo, and broadcasting live from here, hanging out with some great people, man. It's had to come down for a quick trip. It's do some business at the same time, and just prepping for the IPCPR show, man. That's we're on IPCPR one-on-one mode right now, just trying to get and crank everything together. It's a lot going on, so we're excited about that.
Absolutely, it's when you turn like when it gets close to election time and you tune into just about any news show. It's like election watch. So now it's IPCPR watch. Everybody's. I remember when we were talking about it. John and I have been talking about it and planning a little bit, about it for weeks now, and keep thinking about it like, oh, it's a ways away. It's like Christmas, you think, oh, Christmas isn't going to be here for a while. Next thing you know, it's Christmas time. So, 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So this is definitely crunch time for you guys. How's everything going? I mean, everything's looking good as far as getting your cigars in hand and having everything ready for your booth and all that.
Yeah, man, it's been great. First of all, guys, thank you for having me. This is always it's always a plus for me every time I get a chance to, talk with you guys and talk cigars. It's just always a lot of fun. And it's been a little while for me. This is the first time in about it was Bianca about the Fratello line. There's a lot of conversation about the coffee, and I look forward to talking to you guys a little bit more about what we got coming up for the show, and some of the very exciting things. But man, it's been crunch time for us. We have evolved from being a regional brand and starting off as a regional brand to all of a sudden being in over 42 states and over 450 points of sales in the U.S. And it's been the fact that we've been able to hit the ground running, take on some precise and very strategic steps. And that's what has been differentiating itself, differentiating our company a lot, and able to get the cigars out of the market. So that's always been very exciting.
Precise and very strategic steps. I like that. That sounds good. That's like that's you guys have got. It's been, like you said, it's been a while since we've talked. And I think the first time we had you on the show, it was, you were still, a lot of it was just you. And I imagine it's still a good portion of it still is just you. All these companies are like that when you guys are getting started. But, you've expanded, man. Like, you've got the new, it's the new Bianco, right?
Yes.
And that's what I'm smoking here right now. And I think this is, I think you actually sent me as far as I could tell, from Coop's website. I always go to Coop. Whenever I need any information, I want to make sure I get the right stuff, so I go to Coop. And he has this is the 544. He has this listed as an event-only cigar.
That's
so
right.
I feel special right now.
That's right.
I feel special that I get to try this. And I'm pairing it with one of my favorite beers. John, you're going to have to correct me on the French. The Deux de Ciel.
That's actually really good. Yeah, it's Deux de Ciel. Yeah,
Deux de Ciel.
Out of Quebec.
Péché Mortel out of Quebec. It's a imperial stout. It's a coffee imperial stout. And it brings out the cocoa and the coffee that you get out of this from this nice San Andreas wrapper. So very nice, So let's talk about since I brought it up, let's talk about the Bianco. So give us kind of just some background on that. It's a brand new release. Has it hit? It's hit stores already, right?
Yes. So here's what we did. So we released Bianco into 8 shops only in the U.S. For the reason we wanted to do that is because I wanted to sort of hit a little bit of the ground running prior to the IPCPR show, get some traction, get some people excited about the cigar. We've been working on this for over a year, and it's been everybody who knows my company and who knows what we stand for. I don't usually come out with an enormous amount of cigars and special releases and anything like that. I try to build up. I've been trying to build up the Fratello brand to have the legs that it needs, to have the traction that it needs, build the brand, build the cigar, build the excitement on social media and on people's palates. And so that has happened, and it's happened very well for us, guys. And so we were ready to release the Fratello Bianco, which comes at a really good time, especially because it was time to start giving our company a different form. We wanted to start getting guys that love our cigars another option. We wanted to give them another option that was as flavorful. I love to tell the story about Fratello and how tasty this cigar is. There's a hashtag that I've been able to associate with our cigar, and the #1 hashtag that I see on social media is the fact that it's a very tasty cigar. So I wanted to keep it along those lines, Rob and John. I wanted to keep it within the lines of just something very flavorful, but very complex. So I wanted to take the company to a whole different level. That's why we released the Fratello Bianco in a Maduro blend, and it's a San Andres Negro Maduro wrapper. It is got a Dominican binder on it, and it has a Condega from Nicaragua. It's got Peruvian tobacco from Tarapoto, and it's got USA Pennsylvania broadleaf. We went on a full-blown cocktail on this cigar, guys, because we wanted to make sure that it was complex enough. It was very tasty for the normal consumer, just to say, oh man, this is a really great cigar, but also for the connoisseur to be able to just appreciate the different tonalities that the cigar has to be, brings to the table. So we did that, and we did a phenomenal job with it. We've been able to put it out in a couple of different places. We sent it for review to a couple of different locations already. And we've been getting some pretty amazing reviews on it. Cigar Coop gave it a 93 on his website. He had some amazing things to say about our cigar. And I think people are going to be unbelievably excited. They're going to be unbelievably excited because they're going to look at a new company, a company that they've been smoking the cigar already for 2 years. They've been enjoying some of the blends that we have, and now to be able to provide something a little bit different so that they can enjoy. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, the profile of this, and I'm about a third of the way through. The profile on this is very different than your original release, your initial release. And now with San Andreas Maduro, it's such a popular leaf right now, and it has been for years now.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's even getting more popular. Is it hard to get your hands on some of it nowadays? Is it getting difficult to get?
Not so much. I mean, when you have, it's all about inventory at the end of the day. It's you will run into problems if you don't buy the right amount, so you don't have the right suppliers, right? So it's like anything else. We have been able to, very fortunately, been able to acquire a good amount of tobacco so that we can utilize it as we go and as we progress. And so I always like to tell the story about Fratello and me buying the tobacco last year that we're going to be utilizing for 2017. And so we're talking about tobacco here, that you're looking into the future and saying, this is the cigar and this is the tobacco that I'm going to be utilizing because I'm going to ferment it for over a year and a half. Then we're going to age the tobacco for a little bit longer. And then we're going to get it into the rolling process, and then we're going to get it into full production so that the cigar has the same qualities that it's had to this point. And so we're doing the exact same thing on this. What the demand does is just it raises the prices. That's the only problem with the demand. Is
absolutely
we're getting into the situation just like it happened to the Nicaraguan Habanos and other rappers that have had succeeded on that popularity. The costs go up, and so I wonder what's going to be the next rapper, what's going to be the next filler, what is going to be the next rapper that's going to have that different tonality, that's going to have that excitement about people that all of a sudden we're going to see it from $20 a pound to $30 a pound and stuff like that, or a pack. And so those are going to be some of the decisions we're going to have to face in the future. But right now we're good on inventory.
Absolutely, that's great. And it's funny. from what I understand, this is before my time as a cigar guy, but you know, back in the day, people they just weren't using Mexican leaf. They just weren't using it. And like you were saying, when you know, demand goes up, price goes up, and then you're looking for that bargain. Where is that bargain? And that was the San Andreas wrapper. And now it's like, wait a second, now it's like the Lexus of wrappers. So you're right, yeah. I imagine that price is going up. But what is the price point on these?
About that, let me tag upon that as well, which is something very unique. Is with the amount of cigars, and this is something that I did because I knew I wanted to work with this wrapper for about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. When we started the company, it was like, so what's going to be the next step as we grow? And I knew exactly I wanted to time it. Again, the strategic part of me wanted to time it very well. So 2 years ago, I knew already that the inclination I sort of wanted to take. But what's really unique is I've been smoking during that whole time a lot of the San Andreas wrapper that have been released. And I've been looking, okay, this is not the profile, this is a profile that I enjoy. What do I enjoy about all these cigars? And so just to understand how much different I wanted to make this Fratello, how much different I wanted to make the cigar versus the enormous amount of San Andreas that are now being produced in the market, you know what I mean? So I wanted to, I went a little bit different on many aspects, like the branding itself of the cigar, putting a white band and calling it Fratello Bianco, to just, so is it milder with the band? You're looking at a white band, but I'm looking at the cigar being a Maduro, and I was glad that Cigar Coop, brought that up as well in his review. It lets you compare. It gives you that question mark. Let me try this and see what it's all about. So we wanted to make it very smooth. For San Andres Negro Maduro wrapper with a lot of flavor and give it that nice, like, tasty edge that Fratello currently has.
It definitely has some nice flavors to it, and we'll have a review posted up on Cigar Federation hopefully sometime next week from one of these event-only sizes. So I mean, we'll see. I am excited that you came out with a true Lonsdale in there, 6.5 by 44. I love that size.
Heck yeah.
That's my favorite size, and that's the one thing that this is going to be the one negative in my review of this particular one, is that it's only 5 inches long, and I'm gonna smoke it too fast. Because no, I mean we're about 10-15 minutes into the show, and I'm almost halfway through. I should have brought two out.
Power smoking.
But yeah, no, I am probably smoking it a little bit too fast. But the pairing that it's the flavors that are bringing out with this coffee stout. It's bringing out a nice bitterness on the finish of the cigar. You can get that nice espresso kind of bitterness to it, with a little bit of chocolate, real nice flavors. So I'm excited to try this one on a fresh palate. John, I've been kind of hogging the mic. Why don't you jump in with some of these audience questions?
Yeah, I think we've got a fantastic question here from Bob Dog, who's, appreciate all the audience questions. This kind of goes back to where you're talking about the blend, Omar, and Bob Dog wants to know on the Bianco, is it the addition of the Pennsylvania broadleaf Ligero that's key to the complexity? Is it the San Andres Maduro? And I'm going to tack on to the end of his question, is it the secret Peruvian tobacco? What's the secret sauce to that complexity on this new blend?
So I love that question, guys, because it's something that we did with the Pennsylvania broadleaf Ligero. We blended it with many different kinds of Ligero. We blended it with many different suppliers of Ligero from Esteli to see which one was going to strike that note. And when we finally, blended it with the Pennsylvania broadleaf, we gave it this darker tonality to the cigar that none of the other Ligeros was giving to the smoke. So I would absolutely put 100% a lot of the effect on the Pennsylvania broadleaf that we utilized. And it's just unbelievable flavorful. So one of the things that we usually do when we're blending the cigar, when we're working with the tobacco, is I like to do the puro grado, which is basically you smoke each particular leaf individually to see how basically they taste different from each other. So there were some differences obviously on every single ligero that we utilized to be able to try to get this blend. But when we utilized and we tackled upon this, and I did the puro grado only on the Pennsylvania broadleaf, my God, it gave it that dark cocoa, gave it a nice bitterness to the cigar that it blew me away. And so I was like, this is definitely the ligero that we're going to utilize. How do we break out the proportion so that it really shines through the cigar? Because again, we have a lot of things going on. We have Peruvian tobacco, which I am an unbelievable, I'm a crazy fan of Peruvian tobacco. There's no way we're not going to utilize Peruvian tobacco. And then we blended it with different kinds of visos from Nicaragua to see which tonality we give it to. But when we gave it that that the Pennsylvania, we put that Pennsylvania broadleaf ligero on this cigar, it absolutely made an entirely different cigar. And I would absolutely attribute a lot of the success that I think we're going to have on this cigar to that Pennsylvania broadleaf and that combination with the San Andres Negro round.
Now, Jason Myers asks a question, which I think we're still kind of talking about the blend. You mentioned that you really wanted to do a cigar with that San Andreas Negra Maduro wrapper, but during that blending process, did you try anything else? Like, did you second guess with maybe a Connecticut broadleaf or any other Maduro wrapper to maybe change it up, or was it just San Andreas the whole way?
There was a blend that we worked on that. I gotta be honest, it blew my mind. It was so much flavor. It was just delicious. It was an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper that we utilized with a similar blend to what we have right here. When we put that Ecuadorian Habano on this cigar, there was just so much flavor. We used a different binder on it as well, and I gotta be honest. Towards the end, I was like thinking, my God, everything that I was thinking in terms of the branding, I was working the branding, I was working the aspects, I was working the boxes, just so that everything would be aligned. Because that's something that a lot of people don't, pay a lot of attention to. For me, is you got to have the right branding, because people have to pick up the cigar to be able to have a great cigar as well. Both things have to be in tandem. You know what I mean? They both have to work very well together. And so when we did that, and I usually take about seven people that I usually send, some of the cigars to. There was no question, hands down, this was the cigar that most people, chose. But everybody was raving about that Ecuadorian Habano that we blended. It was, there were some differences on the cigar, but it was just so much flavor. It was ridiculous. My concern, the reason we didn't release it was, although we may, but the reason we didn't release it was because there was so many things going on already with the branding of what we wanted to take the company, we wanted to take, our consumers to, that I was a little bit hard pressed not to come out with that other cigar. There would have to be a lot of changes, maybe even, some time taken away from the potential even release date of what we're planning as well. So yeah, the answer to your question is absolutely. My God, I like to play around with some of the samples that I sent out. I sent out samples on this exact same blend, but a different priming. I utilize this exact same blend, but instead of putting this leaf from Condega, I use this leaf from Esteri, just to get people to see how many differences they've been able to pick up, so that I can get then that feedback and understand, okay, this is where they rated very well the number 3 or the number 4 Liga versus the number 2, which was this one, to make sure that it was entirely different and get the different profiles that I had already devised and already picked up. So it was a very exciting process. I love doing it because you may think this is the best cigar in the world. You may think this is the cigar that's going to have an explosion in the industry, but all of a sudden you're 7 people from 7 different regions, from 7 different races, all of a sudden thinking an entirely different approach from you, and so you may have to take that into consideration.
I'm glad that you said that you decided to stick with the San Andreas, but you may end up making that other one. That sounds, John, that to me, I'm going to read between the lines, and that might be maybe the first Fratello limited edition, maybe something like that.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Fratello LE.
It's already, and we already blew that out on Twitter and everything. It's already out there, man. So
already all over social media, huh?
So you may as well just do it because it's already out there.
Oh my God, I'm already getting it on social media. You coming out with a release?
No, it's when you're talking about blending, and John and I have been down on Cigar Safari a few times, and we've been able to play around in a very controlled environment, mind you, with some very specific tobaccos that you're kind of put in a position, at least we are, to where you're not going to fail too badly. Everything that's there is probably going to blend okay, and you'll be all right. But that experience of taking those individual leaves and really just kind of getting some flavors from that individual leaf and then combining them with others and really trying to get in that direction that you want to go to is a lot of fun, but that's in an environment where we're supposed to have fun. When it's your job, I can imagine that can get a little bit maddening. We talk about it like it's great and it's awesome, you're smoking cigars all day, blah, 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 but it can get a little, I imagine it can get a little bit crazy for you.
Rob, it is stressful as hell, especially when this is something that, oh my gosh, how do I even explain it to so that you guys can have a better view and appreciation. So because of the way that our company has already been positioned, we're in 400 points of sales, like I said earlier, right? So a lot of people have been looking to, what's coming out of Fratello? Where does this next cigar take our company, right? So there is an enormous amount of pressure going into preparing the next blend, so that you can not only maintain your current customers, right, but you can gain on some new customers, or people that haven't been used to a Habano, from an Habano Nicaragua Colorado wrapper, or with the Peruvian and the Nicaraguan filler and stuff like that, so that you can continue to capture that market, take their taste buds to a whole different level. So by that, taking our company to a whole different level. Because the worst thing that can happen, all of a sudden you put a cigar out, and people just like, oh man, he did amazing with the first release, and all of a sudden this is not my favorite and stuff like that. You want to give the consumer that extra level of edge. I think there's a lot of companies that come out with amazing releases every single year. Even so limited releases that people just go bananas over. They love it and they want to get it and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, that release and those limited releases take a little bit away from your current lines and the lines that you've been able to produce in the past, right? So I wanted something that would just be in tandem exactly to where we were at with David Fratello, and just give it a step up, so that we can grab not only the customers we already have with Fratello, but get those extra level of customers that would appreciate a very complex blend on a Maduro cigar. So it is very stressful, Rob, and it's very stressful because there's money is an issue. I mean, you need to be able to sustain the level of potential demand that you have no idea what's going to be. So I was very fortunate to be able to, like you said earlier, to be able to release it prior to the show to about 10 locations in the U.S. And it has been, the response we have gotten has been amazing. So I think like Coop said, I think this cigar is going to take our company to a whole different level.
It really does add a whole new experience to your portfolio. For guys who enjoyed your first cigar, this is going to take them to a totally different place. And I think that's great. This will maybe attract some people who maybe didn't like your first one. Maybe that blend wasn't in their profile, and this one really might hit their profile. Now, you came out with this cigar, like you said, you released it limited release before the show, and I've seen some smaller companies in the past, newer companies in the past, I don't know, the past 2 years, release their cigars in advance of IPCPR. Was that it? And I mean, I'm based on the conversations that you and I have had, I know that wasn't a mistake for you. You did that on purpose. What was the reasoning behind that? I mean, you're getting some nice buzz with the cigar going in, so I imagine that had something to do with it. But were there other driving forces behind that?
There are. I mean, a lot of people talk about, what would be the ideal time to release cigars. A lot of people say that towards the beginning of the year, March time frame, where the season sort of begins, especially for the north, and sort of take up on that market, make sure you hit the ground running with a cigar. I personally, I try to target specific dates, like I'm targeting right now 2017. I try to target specific dates and specific times, so I gear up our company to where do I want and how do I think I can make the bigger buzz for our cigar, right? So like you said earlier, I mean, there is a strategic approach to each business. A lot of people try to release it, early during the year so that they can really get a bite on towards the beginning of the season. Because once you release it at the show, a lot of companies usually take a couple of months, 2, 3, 4, even 4, 5, 6, 8 months to be able to send that cigar out on the market, right? I'm not that company. I'm the company that we had the cigars ready. We were ready to go. We had our first production run. We're still in production right now to suffice for the potential demand that we're going to have. Not during the show, because we got that demand already set, and we know we have a feeling of it. Although my man Skip Martin says, don't underestimate the show. Don't underestimate the amount of orders that you're going to get. But I think we are in a good spot. However, I don't like to run into the issue of you ordering at the show and saying, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to the cigar, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 months down the line, you don't have your cigars yet. So for me, we've already planned, we've already been in production of the cigar. We've already had it for about 6 months in the aging process, so that the cigar would be not only ready but ready to go at the time that we get the orders, and we're just ready to ship them immediately after the show. So for me, the strategy was very strategic because I wanted to get a good bite prior to the show and get a good buzz coming into the show. So it was a strategic move on my part, and I think it's playing well. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that is. It's kind of refreshing to hear that, because there's always those horror stories when you get close to the show. Oh, my boxes weren't ready, or my bands weren't ready, and you said, I'm having none of that. I'm ready 6 months in advance. I love it. That's awesome. I know you have a very structured. Your professional background, you were very structured in the business that you were in. So I can see how that's bled over into your cigar production.
Project management 101.
Yeah.
Project management 101. Let's take it back to the basics, okay? Yeah. Here's the timeline. Here are the times where we need to release. Here's what's giving me some heartache. So I hear the stories as well about boxes and this and that and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's there's some planification, you got to get into, and do I put everything on Microsoft Project? Yes, but it works,
Yeah, you got to
working today, so there's no need to change that.
You got to find what works for you, exactly. So on that same note, got a question here from Jason Myers. He's referencing your recent hire of Mirella Matos as your brand manager. Yes. Now, what is her role going to be, moving forward? And brand manager is kind of a loose title. It can mean. I mean, I've been a brand manager for a couple of different places, and my jobs were very, very different. So, what's her role really going to be, and how does that going to help you to take some things off your plate? Maybe you can spend some more time in the blending room, or some more time in the factory, things like that.
This is I gotta tell you something. This has been I'm so excited I can start jumping up and down right now, fist bumping style. I really am. She has been such an amazing help. Her specific role is going to be a lot of interaction with our consumers. Get to understand their needs. Get to understand where our faults are, where we can help them, and how we can prepare specific store strategic approach to each and every one of our locations. So we have stores that have multiple locations. We have stores that have one location. We have stores that have 2 or 3, and every single store has a different business approach to each and every one of them. Every store, even stores that have 2 or 3 locations, one store, it might be an amazing store for a lot of 6x60 fans, but they don't go crazy over a Corona. How do we change that? How do we get that Corona to be involved a little bit more, and we get to grab those consumers that cigar is not tackling right now? So there's a lot of little things that she's going to be doing in the back of the house, understanding our approach, understanding our businesses, understanding the marketing plan for Fratello. So you mentioned something that is very true, which is, stores that currently have, or people that currently have a brand manager role, it tends to be very broad, right? For me, again, project management side of me, right, Rob?
Absolutely.
Now, every single area that I think is going to make a very big impression on our company. So one of them, retail connection and understanding our retail and the current market in the U.S., right? Number 2 is understanding the marketing and the branding side of Fratello, and see how we can expand our brand, not necessarily our footprint, okay? Because again, up to this point, I've only had 5 sizes, right, in people's humidor. So now we have Fratello Bianco. How do we make sure that Fratello Bianco comes in and it doesn't cannibalize on our current line? So there's a lot of approach that you have to take into consideration to make sure that it just adds, value to the consumer, to the shelves in a retail spot. But there's also parts like our web plan. What is going to be our web approach? How do we continue to connect with a lot of consumers that, unfortunately, because of my time, we haven't been connecting, we haven't been targeting? What locations should we target a little bit more? And what is our approach and our strategic approach to make sure that we encapsulate the United States of America with different strategic approach to each and every one of these businesses? So a lot of work on that end, because she's gonna face some steep road ahead of her, because there are so many different businesses, so many different little things and little intricacies that is going to be exciting. So she's going to be at the show. I hope you guys come by and meet her and get a chance to talk to her a little bit about some of the ideas that she has. She's very fresh, completely outside of the industry, which is something that I was looking at. I was looking for somebody that just give me completely an entirely different approach to what we've been doing so far. There's so many little things that happen behind the curtains, such things like our constant contact approach, our direct to consumer marketing, our direct to marketing to the retailers, the blending side of the house, and some of the things that I have to take care of that unfortunately prohibit me from having to dedicate specific time to those things. So she's going to be filling in all those gaps, and she's also going to be my arm as I hit the road. So that's one of the things I got to tell you I just love. I love hitting the road. I love meeting guys. I love talking about our cigars. I love telling people our story and having that connection with the consumer. And she's going to be that person behind closed doors telling me, Omar, this is where these consumers are really enjoying out of our entire line. This is where I think you need to continue to make sure we send a message on. But here's some of the things that I think we could do better, and giving me that intel and that information so that we can then transfer it to our retailers, and then they'll transfer it to our consumers. So again, very strategic, very to the point, and I am fist bumping style, jumping up and down excited to have her on.
Yeah, she's wearing a lot of hats, man. She's got a big job in front of her, and I wish her all the best. And that's one thing that you said in there that I picked up on, and we've had other guests talk about this, is certain stores gravitate towards certain styles of cigars, certain wrappers or certain sizes, and instead of you saying, okay, well, let's make sure they get that size, well, let's find out why. Let's find out why and try to see if we can change that. I love that attitude. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But at least you're looking at it as something that is something that can be rectified. Maybe, I don't know if that's the right word, but instead of just, well, this is a store, they do a ton of 6x60s. Well, I don't make a 6x60, but my cigars are damn good. So let me get these cigars in their hands. I love that attitude, man.
Yeah, you cannot have a cookie cutter approach to every single company that you work with, especially when we're dealing with companies that have 10, 15 stores, and companies that have it's a mom and pop, the guy behind the counter is the one, there's the manager, is the owner, he's the IT guy, he's the accounting guy, just like me. So there are many things that happen with this kind of stores that you want to send them the message of, hey, I want to understand more your consumers. So let me understand your consumer so that I can help you better in giving you the product that you need to be able to make sure that it's successful. Because the last thing you guys want to do, is make sure that we open up a great account, and all of a sudden, you spend 6 months without a reorder, you spend 8 months without hearing back from them. You don't understand what's happening. So this is going to be a very grassroots approach. So she's going to be doing some trips to the U.S. with us as well to understand a little bit better what's happening specifically to our consumers, what's happening specifically to our retailers, and why are these customers enjoying more of this? Is it a cultural aspect? Is it the value aspect? Is it the flavor? I don't get too much flavor. What is it that is going on with our product, and what do we make sure that we can put in your shelves that will have that traction going forward?
Omar, we talked a little bit about the IPCPR, and obviously it sounds like you're really, really prepared for the show. But we've got a lot of audience questions around those preparations, and top question here is Stefan Lindblad wants to know, what is your approach to the show, and would you prefer the show stay in one city or be in different locations, or as a manufacturer, what's your take on that sort of swapping cities between Vegas and a host city?
I'm a fan of swapping cities, man. I love going to a new city and all of a sudden doing something a little bit different. Why not? You know what I mean?
Me too. Absolutely.
There is a benefit. I know there is a benefit for larger manufacturers to have a specific. They can their big booths and stuff like that in one single location. I'm not at that point. But I do understand that aspect of the business. I'm always a fan of. I'm looking forward to New Orleans. I mean, it's actually one of my favorite cities in the U.S. It's just there's so much fun. There's so much flavor and character in that city, and the food is amazing. So I always enjoy different things in different cities. And I traveled basically after the 42 states that we have a presence. So I've probably been in about 40 of those states right now, opening those accounts myself. So I am a fan of changing from time to time, but I do see the benefit of having one single location to host a show every single year. There is definitely a benefit towards the IPCPR and in terms of their negotiation and the things that they have to go through to make sure that they have longevity. It makes absolute sense. I mean, if you have a contract with one particular state and one particular business, that you can absolutely have, we can guarantee you 2 or 3 years of the show being here and giving revenue to the city. There's obviously a business aspect to that, and I understand that. For me, I'm too small yet to be able to determine. Like, I want to make sure that I have, that I have my Drew Estate Brooklyn Bridge, one location, and I don't have to transfer all over the place. And that obviously makes a lot of sense. It makes sense to me. But for me, I'm not at that spot yet. So I'm a fan of, going to different cities. Now, I do have one thing that I wasn't happy. I wasn't pleased with the fact that New Orleans had that smoking ban, because it's I figure sort of a a small slap in the face for us, and we're bringing in revenue, we're bringing in people that enjoy our lifestyle. We're bringing cigar smokers to a city, and we're bringing in revenue. So I wasn't a fan when they came out with New Orleans. We got every single exemption that we needed to make sure that the show was very successful, and I think it's going to be. There's a lot of excitement about New Orleans. But to answer Tom's question about the prep and the preparations that we have to go through, my God, if I can show you my Microsoft project management spreadsheet, you will see the level of details that we have to go through. And everything is so calculated. His name is Tom, the one who asked the question, correct, John?
Stefan Lindblad.
Stefan. Let me address that very with some of the different things that have to happen. So we have a specific approach to when our emails go out to our retailers. When do emails about product appointments and specials go out? When do we tackle the consumer so that the consumer gets excited and then in turn it into the retailer and say, hey, I hear about this particular cigar coming out. How do you tackle it? What's the approach that you tackle for the consumer? So right now we have a giveaway for the 4th of July. It's called #Fratello4th that we released today to make sure that we can get the consumer excited about Fratello Bianco. And we've received over 35 different hashtags on that already, people reposting at Fratello Cigars. So we have a great giveaway for the 4th of July weekend. So how do we do that? We grab that market and get them excited a couple of weeks prior to the show so that we can get the consumer talking about our product, and that has been happening. So those are just 2 or 3 small examples that just have to do with direct marketing, direct to the consumer and direct to the retailers, so that we can get that excitement going on. But then there's the aspect of the drapes for the show, the preparation for what do we need on the show floor, the shipment of our product, the shipment of things that we need to buy, the attire, the preparation for everybody who's going to be at the show, helping me in the booth, the communication between everybody who's going to be helping me at the show floor, so that we all have the exact same message and there's no different message. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time to develop, especially now Mariela, who's brand new to the business, brand new to the industry. It's been taking an enormous amount of our time. But those are very exciting things, obviously, for me, because this is crunch time. This is like going to the World Series. It's just preparing for it and being able to just be ready on day one. Again, it's just it's very exciting.
Man, for Mariela, you really did just drop her right into the fire, man. Bring her on board like 3-4 weeks right before the biggest show of the year. It's like, here you go, drop right in and get acclimated. But some people thrive in a situation like that, and it sounds like those are the type of people that you want around you. So this will be interesting for her. We'll definitely come by the booth and say hello and give her some words of encouragement, because it's going to be a lot of work.
Right. You should. She needs it, because she's been working up to like 10 o'clock in the evening. Ever since she came on board, she has been on fire. So but she's been able, and that was the aspect of one of the things that we were really looking for, and the reason it took us so long, guys, to be able to bring somebody on board that was the right person, is because we needed somebody that you could put him in the fire and it would just hit the ground running. Let's do what we need to do. Let's make sure we grab we have something very organized. I tend to be a very organized individual myself, so I needed somebody who was just as organized as me to make sure that we complement each other well and make sure that all of the decisions that I'm making are the right decisions, and do a little bit of a combat with me, challenge me on the things that I so wholeheartedly believe for the last year is the actually best approach to the business, and give me a different approach, give me a different vision, so that we can have these conversations, and that's exactly what we got with Maria. So we're excited about that.
That's awesome. Two real quick things, and then John's going to jump in with some audience questions. A lot of chatter in the chat room on CigarFederation.com. Two things people want to know. One, what you said that the Bianco is available at 10 U.S. retailers. Is there a place where people can find a list of those retailers?
So we have 10 retailers in the U.S. Alright, the cigar is available. One of them is Stogies World Class in Houston, Texas. That's he's one of our top accounts in the nation. He's one of the guys that's got our cigars. Old Virginia Tobacco is where we originally launched the cigar. They're located in Virginia. They got 7 stores. We also have the cigar available at Draper's Tobacconists in Washington, D.C. We have the cigars available at Delaware Cigars. This is a company you guys have obviously business with, which is great. And so we also made it available for them. We have it available at Silver Place Cigar at Havana Connections as well. And these are all amazing shops. We also launched it at a place called Tinderbox in Waldorf, Maryland. Mm-hmm. So we did a very regional approach to our business, which was very unique for me, because we started as a regional brand. We started, in 8 locations, and mostly in the Washington D.C. area, and it was a way for me to give back to those shops and make sure that we grab those locations. Bird Cigar Lounge as well in Virginia, which is a great account for us. And so these are the people who currently have the cigar now. We're going to be making the cigar available immediately after the show. So after July 12th, if you go to FratelloCigar.com and look at your closest retailer, you will be able to see which are some of the retailers that are going to be carrying our brands and which are not. So you can give them a call and say, hey, were you able to pick up the cigar? Are you looking at picking up the cigar? And I think the response has been great, because we've been already scheduling appointments, and we got a lot of people excited about coming to see us, which is very cool.
That's awesome. That's great. That's good to hear. And one other thing, you mentioned a contest. It was a 4th of July contest. How can people enter that?
So go to Fratello Cigars, at Fratello Cigars, and we got to repost our picture, which is very driven. So we want you type of Fratello Cigars, which is very exciting. Give it a nice little, Independence Day feel to it. Yeah. So they have to follow us at Fratello Cigars, double L. And they can go into the contest. They just have to repost the picture. It's been very, very successful to date, which is very exciting. And it's just been great. It's been great to put those kind of giveaways and get people excited about trying the product. So we're going to be doing some shipping going on next week about the potential winner on Monday.
No, that's awesome. You guys definitely want to try this. I'm getting right down to the end here, but this is a fantastic cigar. We're going to have a review coming up next week. To remind everybody, I forgot to do this the 2 previous times. You listened to Cigar Chat, brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast World in the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are. We're here with Omar DeFrias of Fratello Cigars. And so that's an Instagram giveaway, so you can go on and follow him on Instagram. It's at Fratello Cigars. Check that out. John, I'm going to stop talking so you can ask some questions.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about cigars because obviously that's the big industry, but we'd be remiss to not talk about big thing, Fratello Coffee, which I'm super passionate about. We've got some audience questions about that. Jason Myers wants to know what's the future expansion plans for Fratello Coffee, and can maybe talk about the process about the coffee part of the business versus the cigar part of the business.
I love telling this story, guys, because the Fratello Coffee started because I am a fanatic about coffee. I love coffee, and I wanted to get a blend that was specific to Fratello. So I was targeting, because I'm already a coffee drinker, I wanted to get a nice solid medium roast that would go well to enhance the creaminess of Fratello, the nice pepper that Fratello has, and some of the nice spiciness that we have, right? So what did we do? We grabbed the cigar and we were able to make sure that in the cupping process, we were able to capture the different flavors as we blended the cigar, as we blended the coffee with different kinds of coffee beans, right? So our coffee blend is basically Ethiopian, Honduras, El Salvador beans. That it's just delicious, and we released that about a year and a half ago, and the success factor we've had on Fratello alone, just by word of mouth, guys. This is something that is not even on my website. It's something that I haven't even been pushing like crazy because I'm overwhelmed already by the amount of success that Fratello's already had. So how do I dedicate onto a whole new product and build up a whole new product the way that we really needed to make sure that we built it so that we can get that traction going on that end. So the Fratello Bianco, the Fratello coffee has been very strategic onto very small, very specific retail shops. A lot of those retail shops that actually have a lot of the traction that already have a coffee following. That's the problem sometimes. Everybody wants to try the coffee, but it's written obviously to the retailer, so the retailer can then pass it on to the consumer and make sure that they get that that connection and explain to them what was Omar, what was Fratello really trying to do with the coffee that was so unique. So the places where we've been able to place it, I have a almost 90% reorder rate with each and every one of these guys because they know how to present the product. They tell the story. They already love the cigar. So how do you get that cigar that's already unique, that is already very flavorful, and you let the consumers know, say, hey, this guy actually blended this coffee just to go with the cigar. And all of a sudden, people who enjoy coffee say, oh, I love this coffee. Let me try it. And all of a sudden, they try it and they love it. So expansion plans, John, for that question is we're definitely looking at expanding our coffee line. Now that Mariela has, it's another little hat for her. So be ready, Mariela. I think she's looking at it right now. This is going to be another one of those hats that she's going to have to wear as we reintroduce, our coffee line and make sure that we have a product that is not only available at retail locations in the tobacco field, but also a product that we'd be able to expand it into the coffee shops and stuff like that. So that is something that we're currently working on, and it's gonna be a little bit down the road from everything that's currently obviously happening with Fratello and the Fratello Bianco, but we're excited about the expansion that the coffee line has had, which is astronomical.
And of course, we featured Fratello Coffee on one of our Sharing Our Pairings episode, and I mean, it was amazing. And obviously, we're going to be looking to get our hands on some more and do another Sharing Our Pairings episode. But Omar, you guys are knocking it out of the park on social media. So maybe you can tell our audience all the various ways that they can interact with you on social media.
Absolutely. You guys can look us up in at Fratello Cigars in Instagram and on Twitter. Mariela's Instagram and Twitter is at Fratello Marie, Fratello Marie, and you can follow her as well, so you can see some of the stuff that she's going through, and as she's building up the brand and building herself up to hit the ground running at the show, and on Facebook you can look us up at Fratello Cigars as well.
Dead air, fantastic. So, and of course,
you were waiting for me. I was waiting for you.
I was waiting for you. You were waiting for me. So, of course, like Omar said, there's a Fratello contest going on right now, so make sure to get in on that. That's all over Instagram, all over Twitter. Make sure to repost that image, and make sure to use the hashtags, because you got to use the hashtags to win, guys. If you don't use the hashtags, you'll get no love. Rob, you want to wrap it up on the AR Friend segment?
Yeah. How much time do we have left? We got a few minutes, or?
We've got a few minutes.
Okay. Do we have time for a couple more questions, or?
We should probably be able to squeeze one or two in.
Okay. Well, let's see what we got here. We've got a bunch of the questions here. Here's another one from Stefan Lindblad. We ask a lot of Stefan's questions. He's a big part of Cigar Federation. Always participates, and that's basically what the whole website's all about. I mean, it's just participating. He says he loves the packaging and the artwork on both lines. It's traditional, classy, but it catches the eye in the humidor. So was that kind of your intention? And I'll even take that to kind of another step further. We've talked about this before. The look of the band is so different than anyone else. It's kind of everything's at an angle. It's just it says Fratello, but it's kind of chopped off. It's got kind of a classic look, but it's also a little bit modern at the same time. Did you do the artwork on this?
No, I hired somebody, a good friend in the Dominican Republic called Freddie Hanna, who's to me one of the best designers I've ever met. He actually won a prize not only on our band and the work that he did, but also on some of the personal work that he's done before. He just got a gold band award on creativity. So this man is a genius on when it comes to designing. I had a very clear message on what I wanted, though, as you know. I wanted to make sure that it was something crisp. I wanted simplicity. I wanted uniqueness. I wanted something that would give me a nice, New York City music hall feel that I love in the 1950s, but I wanted that nice crisp of the year 2000, 2015, some nice red, something that would really pop out on people's shelves. Now, the aspect that I didn't understand was how much harder it was going to be able to put this hands on the people that put the bands in the factory, and how much harder it is for them to be able to put it on. So the first message I actually got from them, which is it was a straight message, like this should have come, all of these bands should have come with a set of instructions on how do we put it on a cigar. Guys, it was ridiculous. We would, for what they can put normally 800 bands for any other cigar, they can only put about 300 of our bands. And part of the reason for that is, as you can see, the band is at an angle. This is the face of the cigar, right? But this is not how you put the cigar, because the broach is right in the back, right? So you got to make sure that the most pristine and beautiful part of the cigar is going to be the face of the smoke, right? So not a lot of bass happening. So what they have to do to make sure that that happens is they have to hand turn every single cigar, make sure that they chuck it to the point where they know they want the band to be put the band, and then hand turn every single cigar again so that they can put it inside the cello. So they weren't happy with me at all, but I had to bring a lot of bizcocho and cake to make sure that they were happy with the final result.
That's too funny. No, and I'm looking at the band here because I finished mine, and it really is. I mean, it's kind of precise. You have to hit it perfect and square. I'm holding it completely wrong, but for everybody listening on the radio, this does nothing for you. But you have to hit it right at that perfect angle, otherwise it looks a little bit. It can look a little bit off. So there's
for anyone who's been to Nicaragua and had the opportunity to try and put on bands and when they're down there, it's not even about easy as it looks. It is impossible. You can take all the time in the world, unless you are very, very skilled at it. It is a very, very tough thing. And these guys are putting on how many bands an hour are they putting on, like 40, 50 bands an hour?
Yeah, I mean they have to. They're making money on every single band that they put on the cigar, and so especially when you're looking at me coming in with brand new guy into the industry, all of a sudden I'm breaking their mold of their system and putting on the bands. They have a system. They have a system with your hands where you grab a band and you just start flipping it, and then you just go into a system, right? But when you're working on a angled band, and you need to break out every single cigar on all different things. And not only that, but we also had to make one separate die and one separate band for each and every one of our sizes. So not only is it take longer because you're not putting just the same band and cutting it, you're putting one band for the Corona, one band for the Robusto, one band for the Toro, and one specific band for the 6x60. So you can just hide it underneath or hide it, behind it. Because if you put it behind it too much, then it overlaps a little bit too much at the end. If you put it a bit too short, then it makes a little bit of a triangle. It had to be perfect. So the guys at the factory did an amazing job with that.
So one of the mysteries of the industry is how you're able to do this and keep your cigars at the price point that they're at. I mean, I'm not asking you to explain it because I'll never understand it, but I mean, even this newer release is at a very reasonable price point. I mean, I almost feel like you were very cognizant of keeping it under a very specific number.
And you have
stay where you are.
This is not a market where you want to, as a small boutique manufacturer, come out with $12, $13, $14, $15 cigars and try to compete with Padron and some of the Fuente products. You got to be able to you make sure you price it very well. That's an aspect of the business that a lot of people haven't paid an enormous amount of attention to, but they need to. And so that is where it gets a little bit confusing for us, specifically because we want to make sure that the consumer, when they get the cigar and they get everything that they needed, make sure that they have a good price point for a very high quality cigar. That's the type of consumer that I am. I want a great price for a great cigar, period. And so that's something that we did, and we did very well. You start getting into trouble when you have, multiple associates and multiple people during your business approach as you get the cigar from the factory to the consumer. The more you pay through those steps, you go through, a distributor. If you go to the distributor, you have a broker, and if you have a broker, then you have the end consumer and stuff like that. Then those are things that tag upon the price. We go straight to the consumer. We go straight to the retailer because I am the distributor. I am the person involved in the factory. So we were able to get a cigar at a decent price, and that's something that we were able to do very well.
Yeah, to be able to do that and not be vertically integrated, where you're growing your own tobacco and you own your factory and things like that. That's, I mean, we can see companies, and you mentioned Roma Craft earlier, and they've done a very good job of that, and they've built it that way. And you're taking a different approach, but you're still able to keep in that same style of price point, which is really impressive. One more question here, and this one's from Adam Schwartzberg. And I know Adam a little bit. I'm hoping I can spend some time with him when I'm in New Orleans. I'm lucky. My wife is coming down the day that IPCPR ends, and I'm going to stay in New Orleans for the rest of the week. It's going to be hot, and it's going to be humid, but we're going to go out and check out the sites because neither of us have ever been, and we're really excited about the food, really. I'm really excited to do a lot of food now. But Adam wants to know, he says, this is a very important question. He says, are you going to stop by Baton Rouge while you're in the area for the show?
Am I going to what?
Are you going to stop by Baton Rouge while you're in the area for the show?
No, but I love Baton Rouge. I'm not gonna have a chance to be in Baton Rouge. We have a great account called Havana Port in Baton Rouge. They support us amazingly. They have our entire line. I won't have the time during the show because there's so many things happening prior and during and afterwards that we got to make sure that we tie up all the knots. But I do plan to be in Baton Rouge later during the year. I know I'm going to be seeing Roberto and his sons out there to hang out with them and make sure that they have the Fratello Bianco. So I'm excited to come out again. I was there 6-7 months ago or so, and we were able to introduce our cigars to their consumers. And so absolutely, this is a shop that I hold dear. I love the atmosphere. I love the guys out there. So I'm going to definitely make sure that I'm out there, towards the end of this year.
Now, okay, so you're familiar with the area in New Orleans. Are there any restaurants that my wife and I have to get to before we miss out? I mean, are there certain spots? Because now my wife is very organized. She's like you. I mean, she doesn't have a flow chart going, but I mean, we've got some travel books, and she's got all these little tabs taped in there. Like, oh, we need to go here. We need to go here. I said, babe, we're only going to be there for we're going to eat dinner 5 times. I mean, I can't hit 15 restaurants. So, are there some places we have to hit before we miss out?
I am a nut for the crawfish out at Acme, which is right down on Bourbon Street, right on the corner of Bourbon Street, and it's you can Google it up. I mean, the line is out the door, but their crawfish is just ridiculous. And I think I'm almost certain this is the time for the crawfish. So this is very cool. So this is something you've got to hit. This place is absolutely gorgeous, and they got some very, very good charbroiled oysters, which is just ridiculous.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds like a good spot. Acme. Okay, I'll make sure. I can remember that because that's Wile E. Coyote. That's where he gets all of his explosives from, right? And they backfire on it, but I mean these crawfish.
Give me because I got more, baby. I got more where that came from.
Okay, well we might have to take that offline. We're running out of time. So we're gonna wrap up our AFRN segment. Omar, it's been a lot of fun chatting with you, and I blame myself. It's been this long for us to have you back on. Your energy is infectious, and I'm excited about IPCPR and going out and seeing everybody. But I mean, you got like a little extra level of excitement going now because there's so much exciting stuff happening, and Fratello's right on the front edge of that. So really excited about this new blend. I smoked it. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna have a review up next week, and hopefully that some of the Cigar Federation members, we're gonna be giving away 3 boxes of the brand new blend. So of the Bianco. So stick around after this. We'll do some giveaways, and we're gonna have some giveaways on CigarFederation.com in the next week or so. So everybody stay focused for that. Omar, thanks so much. Really do appreciate it. And
can't thank you guys enough. Thank you for having me. Let's not wait too long till we have this again, Rob. Let's make sure
absolutely.
we schedule something after the show and get the second perspective on how the product did and what's the reception so far and what's the chatter on social media and everybody else about Bianco. I think it's going to be aggressive.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Omar. Really do appreciate it. We'll check you out at IPCPR in a couple weeks. Guys, we'll be back. We'll be back with you with another Cigar Chat next Thursday, John, I think. But we're
last one.
Well, we have 2 more before the show. Our before IPCPR. Our guest is up in the air for next week. We're working on a couple of different things, so we'll see. And then the following week, I believe we have Michael Giannini from General talk about some foundry stuff. And his shows with Michael are always a blast. So that'll be a fun one. Everybody out there on Armed Forces Radio, thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody have a great and fun and safe 4th of July weekend. and we will catch you all here next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate the support. Everybody have a great weekend, great holiday, and stay safe.
Thank you, guys. Safe holidays.
All right, and we're back. Now that's the end of the AFRN segment. So now, Omar, I know you're a very clean-cut guy. You keep everything clean, and I asked you to keep the language clean. You did a very good job. But now, I mean, if you really feel the need to say, like, John, or Rob, you're kind of being, you know, a douchebag, you can say that now. People can still hear us, but the Armed Forces Radio guys can't.
We're the fucking great. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, and it's funny. Those are the guys who probably talk like that more than we do, but FCC regulations and whatnot. So there's a lot of fun, man. The way that you talk about this industry, everybody talks about this industry with passion because you're in this industry because you have a passion for the product. There's some guys out there who are trying to make a quick buck, and I respect that too because that's what, I mean, everybody wants to make some money, but everybody's got passion for it. But your passion almost feels like it comes from a different place. I don't know. You have so much energy when you talk about it, and it really is infectious. And I mean, you put this in the compliment bank. I enjoy talking with you, and I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you a little bit at your booth. You know, sharing a smoke, having some coffee. I won't stand next to you too much because you're a lot taller than I am, and it's bad for the ego. But no, it's a lot of fun chatting with you, man. It really is.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for having me. I mean, really, let's not wait that long. Let me know when you guys have something available next time that we can come on board and we can, you know, impart some excitement. I'll give you guys a little bit of an update on how we did. So that's always very fun.
Absolutely. And
for
we
me,
definitely want to do some more coffee pairings too. So maybe we'll do another one of those shows with you as well.
Let's do it.
That'll be a lot of fun. Now, John, we got some giveaways to do, and I kind of tasked you with that because I got booted out of my office here. I mean, you guys notice my background's a little bit different. My camera screen is much clearer because I'm on my new computer, but I had to get out of my office because the internet connection were apparently being 20 feet closer to the router makes a big difference. So I don't have anything. I didn't write down anything. I don't know who won. So we're going to pick, well, let's pick 3 winners based on questions, and then let's pick a couple randoms. And then we're going to do some, we'll do a couple podcast giveaways as usual. You're going to do the phrase that pays, right?
Phrase that pays, and it's going to be related to social media. So, you know, as normal, we're going to inject a phrase that pays somewhere into the podcast. So the podcast listeners are going to have to listen to that. We're going to tie it into the Fratello social media. So make sure to pay attention. You're going to have to follow somebody on social media to win. We're going to make it a little tougher than we normally do. Yeah, and I think what we'll do, because we got 3 pretty clear winners for questions, Rob, maybe what we can do for the random is pick somebody from chat.
Let me see. So you go ahead and announce who the winners are, and I'll see who's been active.
Just in case, guys, my battery's running really low, so I just wanted to make sure that I at least say goodbye.
Okay, yeah, if you need to drop off, Omar, that's fine. No, I appreciate it.
Any minute right now.
So if we look up and you're gone, we know what happened. Okay, we won't worry about it. Appreciate it. So, John, announce those winners. Announce those winners. I'll pick a couple randoms here.
You betcha. So we had 3 clear runaway winners with the number of questions we asked. And again, it's not necessarily about the number of questions asked, but the quality of question. Really appreciate our Fed heads participating and asking some good questions of our audience. So 3 top winners for questions asked. Bob Dog asked some really good questions. Bob Dog's always good for some good questions. Jason Myers asked a ton of questions, as he always does. Thanks very much.
Oh, so you're going with 2. Or did we freeze up? Oh, we lost Omar.
Lindblad lost Omar. Okay, so it's Bob Dog,
okay,
Jason Myers, and Stefan Lindblad are our 3 winners from the audience questions tonight.
All right, so let me see. Let me kind of, and you guys have to email me. Email Rob at cigarfederation.com. You guys know the drill. You guys have won more than once, so you guys are all going to get to try this. I'm not sure what sizes we've got, but I know we've got 3 boxes of the Bianco. That Logan is going to be coming home from India, and they'll be patiently waiting for him when he gets there. But don't worry, Logan's got everything dialed in. His wife has, I'm sure, opened up the boxes and shoved them in his gigantic humidor. That guy's got the biggest humidor in the world. It's like he could open a store. So let's see. I'm going to go through, and let's pick some guys who are active, who probably asked some questions that we didn't get to. Let's go with this is funny when we talked about Omar's passion about it. Bob Dog says he has Jedi style passion. I love it. I would have picked him just on that, but Bob, you already won. So we'll pick Anthony Russo, who Anthony has hooked me up with some beers in the past. So Anthony, you're going to get picked, and then we'll pick Garen, Garen Fry, because Garen, you're always active. I appreciate that. And let's stick with that. That's 4 winners, and then we're gonna pick. We'll pick 3 podcast winners, and then I know we're gonna do some stuff next week, some Rafflecopter stuff where you're gonna have to follow some people and do a few things, jump through a few hoops to win some cigars. But those might be bigger prizes. There might be a full box for somebody in there. Who knows? So those are the 4 winners that we've got. John, now when we had the coffee pairing, that was with Omar, but I wasn't on that show, was I?
No, I can't remember. I think you had a game that night, and unfortunately at the time we had a bit of a scheduling conflict where, as you can tell by Omar's at a bunch of different shops, he's juggling a ton of stuff for business. So we kind of double booked him, and he popped in for about 10 minutes. We didn't get a full segment. So I'm hoping that at the IPCPR we can nail down Omar for a full Sharing Our Pairing show, get some coffee samples, and do a full pairing. I'd love to do a full pairing with the new Fratello cigar, and do a couple brewing methods with his coffee, because his coffee really is fantastic. It really and I love that he takes the approach of blending a coffee specifically to go with his coffees, or blending a cigar to go with his coffees, blending a coffee to go with cigars. I love that. I love that approach. We need to see more of that in the industry.
Yeah. So I think it sounds like, based on what we heard, we'll have to we'll get with Mariella, and we'll talk to her and make sure she'll get it on the calendar.
Absolutely.
And make sure we get them booked. But that'll be a lot of fun. And it's been a long time since we talked to Omar. It's really refreshing to chat with him. He's so excited about what he's doing, and for me to see, and for us really, I mean, we've known Fratello since day one.
Yeah.
When all of his inventory was at his house, and and he was doing everything on his own, and to see that he's expanded from just one release, that he did that for a couple of years, and then he's got the coffee and now this Bianco that I think people are really going to enjoy the cigar. It's got a lot of depth of flavor to it. It's got some serious flavor going, some nice complexity. Now, granted, I had it prepared it with a beer, so my experience when I have it on a fresh palate and just with some water is going to be a little bit different. But I'm curious to see, especially the guys who have won some tonight, what they think of that cigar. It's if you look at Coop's review and you read it, I mean, a lot of the stuff that he was experiencing was similar to what I was experiencing, which normally I don't read other reviews before I write my own. But I was just curious as to, I wanted to pair it with a beer tonight, so I looked at Coop's review and realized that, okay, based on that, this Pesce and Mortel is going to be perfect in the pairing. It was really good. So, yeah, it's exciting to see him have the approach that he's got. And, I mean, his cigar was available ahead of IPCPR at specific places for a reason. Now, some people are going to say, well, maybe that's going to hurt, folks coming to his booth at IPCPR because they already know about it. But maybe not. Maybe he's going to have some special deals or something. I'm not sure. But to me, it seems like a nice approach for a company that's, the size that Fratello is to take advantage of social media. And we're the guys we want to smoke it first. We want to talk about it. And to take advantage of that, I think that's a pretty smart move.
And I think for sure, I mean, I'm not a social marketing genius for cigars by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm sure there's some real thought given to building that attention, that groundswell before the IPCPR, and really get those retailers excited to place those orders and get it out in the shop. And we've already had the audience going crazy in our questions and our chat about, when are they going to be on the SigFed store? When are they going to be in the SigFed store? And as he said, Delaware's got them, so you can look for them to be on SigFed store soon. We're going to send out some email blasts, I'm sure, when they're available, and hope you guys jump all over that, because it sounds like a fantastic cigar to me, and I'm really looking forward to trying that with his coffee at the IPCPR for sure.
Absolutely. I think you'll enjoy it. I know your palate a little bit. I think you'll enjoy it, and I could see us doing a pairing show just based on that cigar and pairing it with maybe a couple of beers and some rum, maybe some coffee. Which we haven't done that yet. We haven't done coffee with other things, which I guess it's kind of hard because you got to have your coffee when it's still hot. And I thought about, I still have a little bit of Fratello coffee beans stored away, and I was going to crack some out for today, but it was just too hot to go with coffee for today. And one thing I want to do, and maybe we'll do this moving forward, and this is it's got nothing to do with Fratello, but we give away a lot of cigars. I mean, we give away more cigars than anybody. I don't know this for a fact, but I would have guessed that we give away more cigars than any other website in the world. I mean, it's just weekly. Every time we do a cigar chat, we're giving away 3 boxes of cigars. Yep. And it's not all to, it's not just 3 winners. I mean, we're picking 7 or 8 guys. So maybe even more than that. Yeah, we're probably picking like 10 or 11. We're giving away 5 packs. So I want to see from guys who have won a lot, like Jason Myers. I know we say his name all the time because he asks a lot of questions, but they're all really good questions. They're insightful questions. It's clear that he's taken some time and looked at, and I'm singling Jason out just because his name popped into my head. We have most of our guys do this. But it's clear that he's familiar with the product. He's familiarized himself with the product so he could ask some good questions. I want to see some of the guys who have won a lot post some pictures of, here's all the stuff that I still have that I've won from Cigar Chat over the years. Because we've been filling some humidors, man. I know we have. So I'd just be curious to see that. Maybe we'll do something like that on the site and through the app in the coming weeks. I've never really thought about that, but I'd be curious to see.
And I'd love to see some of the guys because I mean we're giving away some pretty like 5 packs. That's a lot of cigars, and I'd love to see some guys post on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and interact with Fratello. Maybe do some pairing on their own. Pair it with some coffee, pair it with some wine, port, beer, whatever floats your boats. Because Omar is passionate about that as well. I mean, we didn't really get a chance to talk to it, but he loves pairing with rum, coffee, wine. I mean, he's all over that. So. We'd love to see that interaction on social media as well. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So you guys who won, I know you're still there. You're still listening. Make sure you post it up. I mean, you guys always do a really good job of that, with posting it on Instagram, Facebook, and things like that. But make sure you tag everybody, and because they like to see it, we like to see it, and it just kind of shows that there's that value of. We're not just giving away cigars for the sake of giving away free stuff. I mean, we want you guys to enjoy the cigars, but we also want you to go and say, hey, find something that you really enjoy and go out and buy some more of them, So it really does help everybody. So anyway, I'll kind of get off my soapbox because we've been going for a while. But John, thanks for sitting in for Logan, who's in transit back home. I think he got home like an hour ago, like an hour before the show started. And he let me know that if he got home from being away on a work trip for a while and then said, oh, sorry, by the way, I can't hang out with my wife and my kid because I got to do a cigar chat, he would have been in some trouble. So I think you saved him some grief, so I appreciate it.
No worries. Happy to do so. And it's always, like you said, Omar's one of those guys we have on the show, and it's always a great show. His energy is so positive. It's so infectious. And it's great to be on a show with a guy who has that much passion for what he does. I mean, it's one of those things that we kind of all aspire to, is being so passionate about what you do to actually make a living. And that's a rare thing. So it's nice to see guys talk about that and share that passion with us.
You know what? I'm going to pick another winner. It's late. But I'm going to pick him anyway, and he's still paying attention. Jared Grillett, you won too. We're going to send you a 5-pack of these.
Wild card bitches.
Yeah, he's always Jared's always very, very active, and I don't know, I was remiss to not pick him, because we haven't picked him in a while, and he's very active in the chat. So Jared, you're a winner as well, but make sure you email me. I think I have your information, but email me anyway. So guys, we'll be back next Thursday. You got the ice cream man in the background there, John?
I got the ice cream man in the background. It's so hot, man. He's going to be cleaning up. It's hot.
I always remember getting, and this will date me a little bit, and I don't know if they still make them, but they had they were Pac-Man and then the Ghost ice creams, and they had gumball eyes.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I'm asking you. You're older than me if they've still got them, but I was just curious. Next time the ice cream man runs by my street, I might run out and see, hey, you got that Pac-Man? Because that was pretty good back in the day. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be back next week. Let's see. I think next week is open, so we'll have our guest posted very, very soon, and then that following Tuesday, just before IPCPR, we'll have Michael G on from General Cigar and we'll talk about all the new Foundry stuff, and he's always a blast to have on the show. So that'll be a lot of fun, guys. Really do appreciate it. Appreciate all the podcast listeners. Make sure you listen for the Phrase That Pays podcast, guys, and you got to email Rob at Cigar Federation, and I'll respond. I try to respond to everybody, but I will definitely respond to the winners. So I don't think we announced them anywhere, but I think we just reach out to those guys and let them know directly. So again, John, thanks for hanging out. Omar, thanks. You had your battery died, but thanks for checking in from the Dominican. And guys, we'll see you next week. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good 4th.
If you guys enjoyed this Cigar Chat, make sure to like the video on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all our latest content. Thanks very much, guys.
Absolutely. All right, guys.